Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Our friend Tom Dyson at the Palm Beach Letter is giving away free copies of a really cool report he put together called How to Protect Yourself from America's New Secret Police. Inside, you'll learn all sorts of simple, everyday tricks you can use to make yourself a little less visible and vulnerable to scammers, hackers, and even the federal government. For instance, inside Tom's report, you'll learn which free internet email service never to use. This company doesn't care if your account gets hacked or not, or things the government must tell you if they request your social security number, and how to spot skimmers lying in wait on ATMs and gas pumps, and much, much more. These tricks and secrets are low-hanging fruit ideas. You don't have to invest time or much money into them. Most are free. But by taking some basic measures, you can make your privacy much harder to invade than your neighbors. Tom's report is available for a limited time to listeners who take a trial subscription to his newsletter. Just visit the Financial Survival Network homepage for more information, or go to www.palmbeachletter2.com. That's www.palmbeachletter2.com. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network.com. I'm Kerry Lutz on 1230 WBZT. Well, things are going great. The government's back at work, however you define work, and debt ceiling no longer a problem and never will be again. And our old friend, you know him quite well from milesfranklin.com, Andrew Hoffman is back to talk about it. Andy, how are you?
Great. Yes, the 90% of the government that was actually still work, that never left their jobs are at work, and the other 10% are back with back pay. So in effect, we never had any government shutdown, which is exactly what I said would happen. They cannot shut it down because people need it too much. And as for the debt ceiling, we'll go into that in a second, because they've essentially just gotten rid of it forever.
Yeah, well, it kind of outlived its usefulness anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any other countries that actually have a debt limit, but the concept, it's not so much the concept of a debt limit that's a problem. It's the fact that we have no way of controlling our debt or spending. We still don't have a budget. Remember the no budget, no pay law in February? Well, we have no budget. Remember the Budget Control Act in 2011? We have no budget or fiscal control. And now the Continuing Appropriations Act, which means we'll keep kicking the can down the road because we can't ever make a budget.
Yeah, we haven't had a budget in years, have we?
5 years, and that's exactly when Obama came in. But then again, it's not an Obama thing. This is a government thing. Government is reaching that Ponzi level where the debt is growing parabolic. It can't just grow; it has to grow at a parabolic rate, and that's why buried in this debt, in this government deal that came Wednesday night and reported by almost nobody. In fact, I found it in only one source, is the fact that they made a little clause that says when we come February 7th and we have the official debt ceiling breach again, the president can veto any legislation that attempts to cap the debt ceiling, and the only way to override it is with a 2/3 majority in both the House and the Senate, something which will never happen. So, in essence, the debt ceiling to infinity I've been writing about forever has come to pass.
Yeah, well, it was inevitable. Right.
Yeah, and I mean, look where we've had spiking interest rates. We've had all kinds of talk from the Chinese. Well, one, the Chinese and Japanese have been actually selling our treasuries, but they've also been, particularly the Chinese, extremely vocal recently. We want a de-Americanized world. We want a new currency, a new reserve currency, and all these massive buying of gold and selling of treasuries. I mean, something's going to give. Our government basically said, we are giving up on any attempts at fiscal credibility, and the world will notice and act accordingly.
Yeah, how much longer is it going to go on, Andy?
I mean, it's a game of musical chairs, as we know, and I mean, it's in no one's best interest for it to happen. Even the Chinese, people say, oh, well, the Chinese, they'll be ruling the world, they'll have the reserve currency. No, to get from point A to point B is going to be a long, painful process. And yes, he who has the gold wins, but not until we have significant global inflation and turmoil. And again, it's not going to be the current Chinese leaders that are going to be in power when it's over.
Yeah, there'll be a whole new world order in place if and when it occurs.
Absolutely. So no one wants it to happen. And the only question is, will it happen because the government does it, what's the word? If they do it beforehand, proactively, as opposed to the markets force it upon them. And, based on history, it's usually the markets that force it upon them. But who knows? Maybe there are some smart people who realize that it's inevitable.
Yeah, well, the Chinese definitely realize it's inevitable, but but the discipline that it forces on everyone. I mean, we were talking about it, back in 1971, the United States debt was at $400 billion. Now it's, God only knows what it is and where it's going to go up. I mean, it went up $328 billion over the weekend.
Right. That was, as we talked about, the extraordinary measures to delay the debt ceiling breach, which really just meant accounting tricks to pretend that the debt that's accumulating is an official debt. It's almost like, if you remember, the Fed did those swap agreements with the European banks back in 2011 and 2012 to recapitalize them without counting it as printing money. Instead, it's a swap, and that's exactly what they did. I wrote about how they wrote themselves dividends from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. By the way, did you see the horrible housing numbers today? They stole from the state national pension funds so that they had cash to pay down the current debts. And now, as soon as they, quote, get rid of the ceiling or raise it, they just put it all in the books. So that's why we went from the theoretical ceiling of 16.7 trillion to 17.1 overnight.
Unbelievable. Profligate spending, huh?
Yeah, well, this is the nature of the Ponzi scheme that is fiat currency. I mean, they must keep spending. Government must keep growing larger, and they must keep monetizing all their spending and all of the treasury bonds that are issued to finance it. And as I said, it's now going parabolic. All you have to do is look up the charts of the money supply, and that's only the published money supply, or the consumer debt or the government debt, and you could see that everything is going that direction, whether you talk about the United States or overseas.
Now, I hate to name that prediction, but with all the attention focused on the U.S. and how bad things are, you know that it's time to turn up the heat in Europe and make something blow up there, right?
Yeah, we're also just talking about, we're talking about the early stages of hyperinflation in the stock markets. It's exactly what happened in Weimar, Germany. They didn't have a PPT back then, but irrespective, you're seeing, we're talking about the macro numbers in Europe are pretty much as bad as they've ever been, and we're seeing record high stock prices. Same over here, of course, that's not inflation adjusted. And I even saw South Africa, where their biggest industry, mining, is collapsing, and they have record high stock prices. And then, of course, there's Venezuela, which is literally in the early phases of hyperinflation. And their stock market is up 320% this year. So it's all starting, the way it has in the past. The only difference, of course, is that the cartel is there desperately trying to keep paper, gold, and silver prices down, which is only exacerbating the mining issues that I've been talking about for so long. And again, we're talking about a doubling of Chinese demand this year from record highs last year. Eric Sprott just put out info that shows that Indian silver demand is tripling this year from record highs. And that's with all the import tariffs. It's crazy.
So is it possible we're going to see hyperinflation in every country in the world, Andy?
I wouldn't say everyone, although, look, if it happens here, it's going to happen just about everywhere. There may be a couple of countries that have protected themselves. And Heck, maybe the Chinese acquiring all that gold may well insulate them better than others in the early stages. That is before we create a new currency that's backed by gold. But certainly all the Western powers, certainly everything related to Europe, Japan, are you kidding me? United States, South America, the Fragile Five we're talking about, which make up 25% of the world's population, their currencies have fallen 20% in the last 2 years. 30% in the last 2 years. I mean, that's India, Indonesia, Greece, Turkey, and Brazil. I mean, that's a quarter of the world's population. They certainly are going to see it. So I would bet many others will too.
Yeah, well, the only thing that's keeping me going, Andy, is knowing that Obamacare is working so well and that we're all going to have health care no matter what happens to the world. It's
astonishing. I'm not sure what's more astonishing is going to be the costs, how much higher the costs are going to be than people could have imagined. And I'm talking about the government costs that will show up in the government debt and your costs, meaning your premiums. If that's going to be more shocking, or if it's going to be just how badly it works compared to what anyone could have possibly imagined. And then, of course, when people realize that if we're going to have social states of America, we're going to have socialist tax rates like they have in Europe and Canada, a federal rate of 50%. You can bet your life that is coming in the coming years.
Yeah, I mean, what other choice do they really have?
No, I mean, how do you pay for it? I mean, how do you pay for anything? Obviously, they don't have to raise taxes. Why not just keep printing and printing and printing, which they will do. But at some point, they're going to have to raise taxes as well, which is part of what Obama wants right now. That's part of what they were discussing. I saw the little clips of what he said. He wants more revenues, which means more taxes. And thus, for anyone who's holding an IRA, why are you holding it? I don't know, because if you get out now, you pay a 35% tax. If you wait until the rates go to 50%, well, then you pay 50%. Your choice.
Yeah, it seems like there's an inevitability to it, doesn't there?
Yes, as it's happened in every other country that's attempted this kind of spending. And, this is what the government does. And, of course, they'll start with the richest people, as they did last year when they raised the highest tax brackets. Of course, these are the most productive people, the ones who create whatever jobs are left to create. So it just is a vicious catch-22 circle, which makes everything much worse.
All the problems of the world, huh?
Yep. It's my job to talk about them. Lucky me.
Lucky you. Well, at least the way things are going, you probably won't have to talk about them that much longer. But you know what? This thing's been going on for years. It could go on for a few more years, couldn't it?
Well, you just never know. You just never know how long it's going to be until the whole game ends. So we wait. It could be a month, a week, 2 years, but not, many years.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about next gold and silver prices. They seem to have got a floor at this point, and we'll talk about it with Andy Hoffman on the financialsurvivalnetwork.com, 1230 WBZT. Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals that you can hold in your hand, tax-free, there's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you. We're back on the financialsurvivalnetwork.com. I'm Kerry Lutz. We're speaking with Andy Hoffman on 1230 WBZT. So gold and silver prices, it pretty much looks like every time they try to drive gold under 1,300, it stays there for a few days and then it's back over. And silver is kind of in that range of that $22. It'll go under $22 for a little while, and then it'll go back over shortly thereafter. I mean, we're in this kind of range bound, and something's going to happen to break it out. It seems pretty obvious, probably sooner rather than later.
Well, something has to give. As I've been talking about forever about the cost of production, silver, the cost of production is $25 to $30 an ounce. Hands down, that's the number for the world. And actually, the piece I wrote today, which will be out later today about the Cannington mine, discusses that further. So from a production standpoint, silver, $25 to $30, gold, the all-in costs, and this is coming from CEOs, this is the CEO of Goldfields, says that the industry needs well over $1,500 an ounce to be profitable. And I've seen numbers from Harmony and some others that are all in closer to $1,700 to $1,900 an ounce. I'm talking about all in cost, the cost of your daily operations, of operating your mines, and of course of exploring, developing, permitting, and your headquarters and all the costs. So I think as I wrote recently, the third quarter mining earnings are going to make the second quarter ones look great. That's how bad they're going to be, and you're going to see further mine closures and plummeting supply. And of course, we just talked about the demand. So yes, something has to give. And as for the prices, what I call the lines in the sand, which is what the cartel typically holds prices at for a certain amount of time until they lose control of it. For gold, it's been about $13.20 forever. I mean, for 6 weeks, which is a long time in a volatile market. And silver, it's been $22 an ounce also for that period. And I see silver's jumped over it, and gold closed at $13.17. So they're playing the little games here, but each day that passes, the physical demand is going to rise and the physical supply is going to fall.
What do the COMEX inventories look like these days?
Well, same. The registered, which is the only amount that matters, because the total inventories include inventories of just customer holdings that aren't for sale. Like if you store your gold at our Brinks facility in Montreal, no one can buy it, but it is theoretically inventory. But if you talk about the quote registered inventory, which means it's available for sale if you buy a COMEX contract, is only 700,000 ounces. And that's compared to 3 million in April, just before the alternative currencies destruction, if you remember. And I'm sure you do. Mm-hmm. So we're at the point where there's only about $1 billion worth of gold and $1 billion worth of silver in the registered inventories, if you even believe it, which, there's 1,500 billionaires in the world. Any one of them could take it out in a day. And then, of course, there's tens of thousands of corporations and sovereign wealth funds and trusts and all that could take it out. So it's going to go. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's and it's kind of amazing that that if you caught the headline today, J.P. Morgan Chase is paying over $13 billion for mortgage-backed security fraud. They paid $4 billion last week for something. I mean, it's a good thing they're getting all that free money from the Fed, because they'd have their capital depleted just from fines and their wrongdoing in the course of 6 months if they weren't getting all that free money from the Fed, Well, you saw the bank earnings that came out last week. It's more of the same. In fact, it's just more egregious than ever. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan, they're reporting these big, quote, profits by releasing loan loss reserves at record amounts. We're talking about the economy is in dire shape, and each quarter they pretend that things are better. Bad loans are near highs, and they're unwriting off loans, and that's how they call themselves earnings. In fact, J.P. Morgan actually lost money with all those fines, those $9 billion of fines that they had to pay. And the only thing that keeps them solvent, or I should say liquid, is the free ZIRP and QE money that they get from the Fed. Yeah, it's remarkable. And of course, all this money they paid, there was never any criminal wrongdoing that needed to be punished. Isn't that remarkable?
Yet every single day. Today there's a new one. They're settling. Last week was the London whale settlement. Yeah. Now they're settling mortgages. I mean, I remember that I wrote a piece a few weeks ago about they were on. Matt Taibbi was on CNBC, and And the CNBC people were laughing at him for saying that JP Morgan was corrupt. I mean, I wrote a piece a year or two ago listing the 50 things that they had done wrong. And that was a year ago. I could list another 50 by now. But that's America. The banks run the country. And until the markets overrun what they're doing, they will continue to do so. Of course, they will be overrun. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, it's just a question of time. And that time is rapidly approaching, isn't it?
It is. It is just a matter of when.
Yeah, well, these things always take longer than you think, You really don't have any control over it. It's just, it reaches a tipping point,
Yeah, and this is life or death for billions of people, this change of order. And that's why we own physical gold and silver outside of the system, because no matter what they do, they can't print gold and silver, and the supply and demand fundamentals will only get tighter the tighter they try to grip this system. And they always lose, and they will lose this time too.
No doubt. And they're losing as we see, but boy, they can make life hell for a lot of people on the way down. They can take a lot of people, a lot of you with them. And the key is not to be taken down with them, right?
That's exactly what they've done. They've tried to do it to me, and they still try to do it every day. And it is very torturous to deal with it. But that's why, we position ourselves the way we have with the physical. It doesn't go anywhere. I have ounces. I don't have dollars worth. And it just sits there and it waits it waits for history.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, go to milesfranklin.com, sign up for Andy's daily missive. It's must reading. Go to Financial Survival Network. We've got a good piece coming out the next day or so about navigating Obamacare, things you need to know, written by Jim Skinner, a top benefits expert. He's been selling insurance for years, and he's got a site called smartpatientacademy.com. Really helpful stuff. Andy, we will talk to you next week. You be well. And till then, hopefully the world will remain standing.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll make it to next week, but I don't know how much longer.
After that, it's an open question.
Right.
All right. You be well.
You too.
What happens if the collapse never really comes? You need income, and Jason Hartman can help you get it. He's helped thousands of people realize their dreams of financial independence through real estate investing, and now he's got an unbeatable offer for you. He's offering my ebook, Forget Wall Street, Go for the Gold and Silver Too, for free. Just visit jasonhartman.com/Lutz. The first 100 Financial Survival Network listeners will get the book free. Remember, you can't afford to put all your eggs in one basket. Real estate should be part of a balanced investment portfolio along with gold and silver. Just go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz and sign up today. When it comes to real estate investing, Jason Hartman is the only person we trust on the Financial Survival Network. So make your money work as hard as you do by building an income property empire. Real estate is America's proven investment. Go to www.jasonhartman.com/Lutz and get your free ebook today. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. Jason knows how to help you retire with a portfolio of income-producing property. Go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.